I want to discuss Elon's recent comments about how he rarely thinks about crypto and Bitcoin. Last couple calls he's had with Cathie Wood, he said as much. He first said that he rarely thinks about crypto, and then just recently he said he rarely thinks about Bitcoin. I think it's worth noting that in both cases he was asked by Cathie Wood, who is a large investor in X and Bitcoin. So some think that this means he's abandoned Dogecoin. I don't think so, but I think the explanation is a little nuanced. First, I do think it's partly due to a strategic retreat. Elon may be intentionally distancing himself from crypto, potentially to avoid regulatory scrutiny or market manipulation accusations. His volatile tweets from 2021 caused significant price fluctuations, and there's a class action lawsuit from it. But the deeper reason is because I think Elon disagrees with the common narrative that simply replacing fiat with crypto will usher in economic reform and personal wealth. I'll explain this in my responses to Elon's comments. Here, Cathie asks Elon if X will integrate Bitcoin.
But also, you wanted to be the everything app. And I know on this call, there are a lot of people who have a strong view about how quickly you'd be able to proliferate that throughout the world with Bitcoin as part of the infrastructure.
Yeah, I'm open to the idea of using Bitcoin. I mean, it's like I said, it's of the various things that I think about Bitcoin very little. But I've thought about monetary systems a lot and the actual practicalities of exchanging money, or money is really just data, information in a database. And basically, money is an information system for labor allocation. So, but most people think of money as having power in and of itself, but you can obviously run some basic thought experiments and say, if you have $8 trillion on it, you're marooned on an island, it's useless because there's no labor to allocate. You only once you have some complexity and, you have people with different skills, then you need sort of an information system for labor allocation and to shift obligations across time.
Now, in the last two conversations where Elon said he doesn't think much about crypto and Bitcoin, he follows up with his common refrain about how money is just an information database. And he's talked about this many, many times in the context of crypto. And we should be careful to listen. He's been thinking about this for 20 years since his PayPal days. The point he makes next is that the economy is powered by goods and services, not simply sound money.
But it's remarkable how many people think money has power in and of itself, because that is their experience, certainly in any advanced economy. For example, if you were to say, like, let's spend more money on healthcare, I'm like, okay, well, you can't instantaneously change the number of doctors. Doctors take roughly 30 years to, for a new doctor, a baby to be born, and ultimately to be educated and become a doctor. You can't just throw money at a system and suddenly have, get doctors from a magic doctor factory. So you can over time change the number of doctors if you change the incentive structure for doctors, but you cannot, just adding money to a system does not create more doctors. But people weirdly sometimes think that is the case, because they see what is immediately in front of them, but they do not see two or three layers deep. In fact, this is why inflation is such an effective means of taxation, is because inflation is a few layers deep, and most people simply see one or two layers deep. But so if something is like 3 layers away, that they simply don't realize it, and they will in fact be angry at the store for the prices going up, even though it is in fact the government that has caused the prices to go up.
Nearly all crypto and Bitcoin discussions, including these with Cathie, try to solve the inflation problem from the surface layer by suggesting that sound, scarce, censorship-proof money fixes everything. Digital gold, Satoshi's genius protocol, proof of work, etc. Elon later says these conversations are boring and threatens to leave the call. He's already said why. Adding money, Bitcoin or otherwise, to a broken system is not the answer. Elon says inflation is fixed not on the surface, but several layers deep. And as a technologist and entrepreneur, he wants to change the monetary system, not just the money, beginning with the incentives of the economy in which that money operates.
That's why we have to get the government out, right?
Yeah.
Right?
For any given system, whatever the incentive structure is, whatever the incentives are, that's what will happen. And then it should be no surprise if you incent something that it will happen. It would be weird if you incent something and it didn't happen.
Elon is building X payments, starting with incentives. There's already a creator economy where you can get paid to post your work and interact with your audience. Coming soon is e-commerce, peer-to-peer payments, tipping. Ex-employee Christopher Stanley says there should be no reason to take your money off of X. Think of X philanthropy. Elon mentioned high-yield money market accounts, full banking services. And he says that if the incentives are right, X finance could become half of the global financial system. So the question remains, will it use fiat or crypto? If you have a great economy with all these wonderful incentives, but its money is controlled by governments that have editing privileges on the database, what's the point? And why would I use crypto over fiat in this new economy? Well, in the past, Elon has said that crypto is superior to fiat for this very reason. No one can edit the database by printing new coins or freezing existing ones. From there, it's a matter of which crypto is built for fast, scalable payments. Which one is fun and has a meme culture for the people? Which one has Elon explicitly endorsed? Which one will you be incentivized to use? See my other work if you don't already know. So why does Elon say he rarely thinks about crypto when we know he does, and that, in my opinion, X will likely use Dogecoin? I'd say 20% is the strategic retreat I mentioned. 60% is because he's already chosen a crypto and is working first on the deeper layers of economic incentives. The remaining 20%, in my opinion, is because he's annoyed at the Bitcoin maxis who either try to flex their Bitcoin knowledge on him or get him to pump their bags. Elon knows about Bitcoin. He knows more about money than most of us. These debates about the merits of Bitcoin and Lightning, it's all pedestrian stuff for a guy who's building Mars rockets and best-selling Model Ys, and who's fighting global power structures to restore free speech and freedom to transact.
I mean, I'd love to keep batting back and forth. Bitcoin, I know your time was short, but I wanted to thank you for joining us. This has been awesome. Spaces is awesome, and we're going to be doing a lot more on Spaces. So thank you.
Sounds good. Good to...
Great. Thank you. Okay. Guest appearance. He's pretty amazing. But I think we scored a few Bitcoin points there, guys. I think we're bringing him back into the fold. So.
Immediately after Elon leaves the call, Kathy says, I think we've scored a few Bitcoin points there, guys. I think we're bringing him back into the fold. But this is exactly the type of crap that annoys him. If I can see that the purpose of inviting Elon onto these calls is to secure a pledge that X will help proliferate Bitcoin and justify your investment, then he can see that too. So no, you didn't score any Bitcoin points. You apparently didn't listen and understand his main arguments, and you're not bringing him back into the Bitcoin fold. Doge to the moon.